We just watched 4 hours of professional wrestling on a Saturday night, live in Las Vegas. And the only thing that I could possibly say to you before we begin this review of All Elite Wrestling Double or Nothing is that WWE is in some serious fucking trouble. This is your AEW Double or Nothing review right here on Off the Script.
This is mine.
Alive with it. People still Guys, I genuinely don't know what to even think at this point. It's shows like this that I sit here well after it's over and I contemplate, how do I even talk about what happened tonight? How do I even talk about what happened tonight with Double or Nothing? You go on social media during the entire 4 hours that was this show tonight, and you see literally everybody in the pro wrestling world talking about Double or Nothing. It came to a point when Double or Nothing was the one thing on social media that was trending at the top spot all night, Memorial Day weekend. That's not by some freak fucking accident. Tonight was a statement show. Tonight, AEW needed to go out there and prove to everybody that this isn't just hype. This isn't just, a rival promotion being started up by a multi-billionaire and his family. This is not stealing WWE talents and making it seem as if this is the one place where WWE rejects could go. Jon Moxley proved that is not the case tonight. AEW needed to do one thing and one thing only, and that is to go out there and make us believe that there is a true alternative. To make us believe that there is a pro wrestling company that is for the fans that will do what is right by pro wrestling. And on the way to doing all these things tonight, they opened a bunch of eyes. They got everybody in the wrestling world talking, including WWE's entire roster. And they sent a statement to WWE to a point where at the end of the night, when this show was over and the end credits rolled and the trademark logo came up as the show faded to black, the one thing that AEW did tonight is signify that WWE is in some serious fucking trouble. Some serious fucking trouble. And I don't give a shit who you are after tonight. I don't give a shit if you hate AEW, if you've called me a sellout, a mark, if you thought that I lobbied to get a job with AEW. I don't care. At the end of the night, you were watching this show, and at the end of the night, I know for a fact that you are thinking the same thing that I'm thinking. The WWE is in some serious fucking trouble. I don't want to sit here and tell you I told you so. I just want to know why you would have doubted so many creative minds who love this business more than anything, putting on a show for us that want to do right by pro wrestling and give you something different than the garbage that we're seeing on Monday and Tuesday night. Why did you ever doubt them? Why did you ever doubt Jericho and the Bucks and Omega and Cody? Why did you put down AEW? Why did you make this thing bigger than it really was? Why did you draw the battle lines for the war that is WWE and AEW when AEW really didn't make a mention of WWE up until this weekend? They made some big statements tonight in more ways than one. Why did you ever doubt it? Why would you doubt it? Why would you doubt it? You don't think tonight was needed? You don't think by the end of this fucking night, with this show ending, You don't think that pro wrestling is better off? You don't think pro wrestling is better off tonight at the end of this show than it was a week ago? Why would you not think this is a good idea? Jon Moxley showing up was the cherry on top of WWE's Diarrhea Sunday. Not even shit. It's wet, steaming fucking diarrhea that WWE is serving up in a fucking waffle cone. You could topple that fucking thing with chocolate sprinkles while you're at it. They're in some serious deep shit. Jon Moxley was the cherry on top of that shit Sunday. You don't know how important his appearance on this show was. Oh, he's not going to show up. Oh, he's still with the WWE. That was a WWE production. Him breaking out of prison had nothing to do with the WWE. Clearly, you were all wrong. Clearly, you were all wrong. Why wouldn't he show up to AEW? Why? You don't know how big of a deal Jon Moxley showing up is. This is the biggest fucking thing that they could have done, and they delivered. And you know what? They made him look like a fucking superstar in 15 minutes. 15 minutes compared to 6 years under Vince McMahon's fucking thumb. How sad is that? WWE should be fucking ashamed. Ashamed. And WWE went along with Dean Ambrose all the way, pushing him in the fucking Shield, selling t-shirts, putting him behind Roman, using him as a fucking shield to protect Roman from the fucking bullshit. Dean Ambrose was a C player. This guy was a fucking bench player for WWE. And all he ever wanted was the one thing that WWE couldn't offer him. Money on top of money, on top of money, on top of money. They figured, let me throw money at everybody, and everybody's gonna fucking be happy. The business has changed, man. Pro wrestling is not the same thing that it was. You can't be throwing fucking money out at people and think that's the only thing that's going to save you in keeping talent. Not when there's another fucking player in town who's just got as much money, if not more, than you. And is offering something that you refuse to offer anybody. You don't know how significant Jon Moxley showing up at the end of Double or Nothing really is. Money means nothing. They could get their money, but if they know they're going to be treated with respect, dignity, and creative, they're going to be creatively satisfied at the end of the fucking night. That's all people like Jon Moxley ever wanted. He was the last beacon in this fucking quote-unquote war. Now it's a fucking war. And blood's gonna be shed. You don't think Jon Moxley showing up at the end of Double or Nothing is going to send signals to the WWE locker room? You don't think a guy like that, with the work ethic that he had in WWE, is not going to reverberate right back to WWE's locker room? You don't think the people on WWE and their roster, everybody, from talent to agents to everybody that's fucking pissed off and frustrated and sad and depressed and angry, watching this guy go over to AEW. This is a big fucking deal. This ain't some rinky-dink fucking company. You don't think they're watching him, and you don't think they have a new lease on fucking hope? He was the fucking hope. He was the hope. Oh, he's going to come back to WWE. Oh, he's just going to take some time off and regenerate his batteries. He's going to clear his head. He's going to come back. No. This should serve as a fucking wake-up call to WWE. And if it doesn't, shame on you. Shame on you. Cody can take all the shots he wants at Triple H. Tonight, there was no blood in the fucking sand drawing the battle lines. This was a fucking military aiming their fucking tanks and aircrafts at Titan Tower, ready to blow that motherfucker sky high. Significant. I'm at a loss of words. I knew he was going to show up. And I truly believe that Jon Moxley was the last beacon of hope. He was. WWE hoped and hoped and hoped and hoped that he didn't go to AEW. And I guarantee you everybody watching, from Vince to every higher up in WWE, was watching that show tonight. Every higher up was watching that show tonight. And they were pissing their pants. Pissing their pants. Everything about this show. It wasn't even a perfect show. There were flaws. I'm not going to sit here and suck their dick all night. There were things about this show that I didn't like. There were production mishaps. There were botches on the timekeeper's end of things. You know? The audio could have been a little louder on the theme music. I like an overall grand presentation. I want to feel the fucking theme music of the performers. That could have been a little better. The commentary was dreadful most of the night. Things like that. Little quirks here and there that I picked up on. The thing that they sold you on is the fact that there is a true alternative that's coming to TNT. And if you don't think people are going to be watching TNT to see this shit in October, you're fooling yourself. This was AEW putting themselves out there to the fucking world. Hi, we got a show coming to TNT. This is what we're going to be doing. This is our first show. We hope that you join us in October while we start up on TNT come the fall. They went into the boardroom. They showed everybody what they want to do and what they're going to be doing and who they're going to be showing to the world. There's no way that you ain't watching this show in October. There's no way. They hit a home run tonight. Even amongst all the flaws that this show had, they hit a home run. We're going to go over everything tonight, man. I can't tell you how proud of a fan I am. I can't tell you. And you know what? A lot of people say that I'm negative, and a lot of people think that I hate WWE. It is the opposite. I don't hate WWE, but I want them to learn a fucking lesson. I said this on Off the Script on Friday, sitting in this very hotel room. I said it Friday if you guys were paying attention to me. What if AEW goes out there, and which they did, they hit a fucking home run tonight. Imagine WWE changes for AEW because of what AEW is doing and will continue to do going into October. Imagine they fucking change their tune. Now, of all days, of all times, they changed their fucking tune. You needed AEW, you needed Jon Moxley to go over to AEW to have you guys say, well, maybe we should get our shit together. You needed this to happen. You could have avoided all of this if you did the one fucking thing that you should have been doing for the last 6 goddamn years. You don't need AEW to force you to change. You had fucking NXT right underneath you, but you treat it like some fucking redheaded stepchild. You treat it like it's a fucking piece of shit. Meanwhile, you're looking at AEW, you're looking at what other people are doing, and you're seeing them as competition. You got something right underneath your nose that you should be competing with. The reason for NXT is what happened on the indies. NXT is a direct vision of what is popular now, but you failed to realize that. So now AEW is born. Jon Moxley's in AEW. He's feuding with fucking Kenny Omega, of all fucking people. Guy was losing to EC3 3 months ago. Less than that. And you let this guy walk right on in to fucking AEW. He's in the main program. And eventually he's going to be challenging for the world title. You could have avoided all this. I know what I'm talking about. I've been saying this for years. This wouldn't even be a thing. WWE would not be glued to their TV on May 25th with Double or Nothing if they did what they needed to do. And I hope to God everybody in that company, from roster that are looking at this, proud, excited, hopeful for the future, that when they're done in WWE, that if they need somewhere to go, AEW is doing right by pro wrestling. And I hope for the management in WWE, the higher-ups, Triple H, Shane, Stephanie, And Vince McMahon himself. And that fucking beaver tooth motherfucker. Hope they're all watching. I want to see them change on Monday. I want to see them go out there and say, you know what? You want to fucking do what you did on Saturday night? We're going to show you. That's all I ever wanted. That's all I ever wanted. AEW hit a fucking home run tonight. A home run. And I had people text me all night. I had my good friends text me, if AEW continues like this into October with their weekly TV, I'm not even going to bother watching WWE. If WWE doesn't show a single sign of change, I'm not even bothering. I'm not. This is all we want. Grown-up, adult-like presentation with a real sports-like feel. That's exactly what AEW did tonight. No jokes, no cheesy comedy. They put their fucking product in the ring. They had a great fucking show. Crowd was eating it up all night. And Jon Moxley showed up to close the whole fucking thing off. Double or Nothing was live from Las Vegas, Nevada, May 25th, MGM Grand Garden Arena. Great show tonight, man. We're going to go over everything as best as I can. As best as I can. Shows like this are very difficult to even sit here and talk about. But we're going to go over the best we can right here on the podcast, man. I guess you can kind of think this is the unofficial but official, kind of somewhere in between part 2 of Off the Script, because I really didn't get anything up simply because of this show tonight. I knew I was going to be watching this show, and I knew I was going to be heavily invested into what was going on during the day leading up to this show, so I really didn't do anything this afternoon as far as Off the Script goes, so I guess you can kind of think this is part 2 of the podcast. But I want to make sure you guys are aware. If you're new around here, please follow me on social media, at JD from NY206, both on Twitter and Instagram. Unbelievable, man. Today was a great day, a really, really great day. I got to meet Elliot. Elliot, if you're listening to me, thank you so much, brother. I love you. You are a kind soul, and I honestly, man, you know, I get starstruck. I was actually a little bit starstruck today when I actually met Chris Van Vliet, and he stopped me to take a picture. He requested a picture with me, man. He's a fucking class act. Super nice guy. I can't wait to work with him in the future. Met him at Starcast. He was roaming around. We talked for about 10 minutes. I filled him in on what I was previously doing and how I got into doing what I'm doing. He was telling me about his background a little bit and what he wants to do and what he wants to do going into the future. I was starstruck, and I was just blown away at the simple fact that he even knew who I was, A, and B, you know, he wanted a picture with me. And the words of Chris Van Vliet, to me, you know, I'm still here thinking about it. It's just resonating a lot. And I was blown away by that. You know, it's the same thing with some of you guys, man. Some of you that I have the chance to meet, you know, and Elliot is one of them, completely blew me away with his generosity and his kindness and his excitement and the fact that he's been watching the podcast for 5 or 6 years, man. Elliot, if you're listening to me, thank you so much, bro. And I hope you had a damn good time at that show tonight, because I know that I did. And I'm super excited to what is going to happen with AEW. It's going to be super awesome, and I can't wait to see what happens. Thank you so much, man. You were the highlight of my entire weekend. Like I said, guys, make sure to follow me on social media if you have not done so. And Patreon, patreon.com/JD from NY206. If you guys want to support the podcast via Patreon, and hit that subscribe button, turn on that bell for all notifications. JD's Elite, I'm wearing the merchandise tonight to represent JD's Elite, bonfire.com. Link is down in the description below. One of the best-selling T-shirts in the YWC, and the number one selling T-shirt right here on Off the Script. And if you guys missed anything that I previously uploaded this week, please make sure and you guys go check it out. Link is in the top right corner. That annotation that you see in the top right corner, drop it down. Everything you need is going to be right there, man. I'm fucking excited. Let's hit the goddamn review. I want to start off and tell you that the stage looked fantastic. My favorite part of the entire stage was the simple fact that they had giant poker chips on stage that actually came into play at the end of the show, man. I'm a big poker guy. I love playing poker. I love watching poker. I love playing poker on my PS4. I got some random Texas Hold'em game. You know, me and my buddy Sean, we love poker, man. So I'm a big poker guy. And I love the whole poker casino theme of Double or Nothing being in Las Vegas. The stage was very simple. They had 2 adjacent tunnels that looked very stylish. Nice little lighting that they had going on there. They had the big screens. They had double screens with the middle screen being... It looked almost like... I don't know if it was legitimately coins. I guess it was kind of like a montage of gold glitter that kind of looked like gold. It fit the whole Vegas theme. Looked really nice. It was very simple. Short ramp, not too overbearing, not too long. Very simple design with the stage. The ring looked great. The logo looked great on the apron. They had the old school feel with the old school barricades, the old school setup for Justin Rhodes in the timekeeper's area. He was sitting there, the timekeeper there, located by ringside. It wasn't some big project outside. Very simple. And it was just a very old school feel as far as presentation goes. I love the fact that Justin Roberts, during the pre-show, now this, I noticed this. He was wearing a white tuxedo. He sounded absolutely great. This was a night for him. He sounded great at what he does. And he is definitely one of the best that does what he does, Justin Roberts. I love him. He was great. And the one thing that I picked up on while I was listening to him do the ring announcing is the fact that AEW does have time limits. This came into play during the pre-show, during the Sammy Guevarra Kip Sabian match, where he said that it would be, I think it was a 15-minute time limit, 15 or 30 minutes. I don't remember what he said, but he mentioned that there was a time limit during the pre-show for their match. And I'm like, yes, I love the fact that there's time limits. It's an old school aspect that WWE gone away from. And I honestly feel, it's going to eliminate that 50-50 booking. The time limits can really be factored into storylines and matches and feuds going forward. It's such a simple thing that I'm glad to see it back. I really am. So I pop for that. Something so simple as that, I pop for that. The announcing on AEW, especially during the pre-show, was completely god-awful. And I'm not even going to sit here and tell you that Excalibur did a bad job. Excalibur was actually the MVP. For better or for worse, the MVP of the commentary team. Alex Marvez is fucking awful. And I mean that wholeheartedly. I don't give a shit who listens to me. I don't give a shit if anybody in AEW is listening to me. Me or any of my guys at House of Glory could have did a better job than fucking Alex Marvez. The guy sounds like he is unexcited with literally everything that happened in the show. He could be the smartest fucking guy. He could be a wrestling historian. He could tell you, a simple aspect of a match that you might not be thinking at the time he's talking about it, and he could really fill you in on what's going on, whether there's a move or a historical fact or background on somebody. The guy has absolutely no charisma. Zero. Sounded like he was a fucking dead corpse out there. Especially during the pre-show when it was just him and Excalibur. Excalibur is very good at what he does. I love his intensity. I love his excitement during certain parts of the match. But he's not a play-by-play guy. And I understand they wanted to save Jim Ross for the actual show, but Excalibur doing play-by-play and then having Marvez do more than he did during the main show was absolutely painful to listen to. They don't need 3 commentators. You need to find another role for that guy, because unless he develops some sort of fucking charisma or excitement during the next couple of months before they hit TNT, I don't want to listen to the fucking guy. Seriously. I'm in Vegas. I was available. All he had to do was call me up. I would have came in and did a much better job than fucking Alex Marvez. So the commentary was really lacking on this show. It really was. And at certain points, Jim Ross didn't know what was going on. He didn't know moves of certain wrestlers. He didn't know the simple thing of Pentagon's armbreaker. He thought he was going for a submission. Now, I love Jim Ross just like everybody loves Jim Ross. I got nothing bad to say about Jim Ross, but I know when a guy has seen his time. You either do the research and know the talent, or you don't call a match for said talent. So Excalibur had to fill in and pick up the pieces that Jim Ross was clearly dropping during the rest of the show. I don't know if this is going to be the team moving forward, but that is going to be a weak spot of their entire presentation. On top of that, their outfits were ridiculous. You got Excalibur wearing a fucking mask. Jim Ross looked like he wasn't even looking directly into the fucking camera. Alex Marvez sounding like a god. Listen, I am so sorry for calling Dasha Fuentes Dasha Bot. I am a robot and an android doing an interview for WWE. This guy's fucking terrible. Awful. If I nailed her on certain things that she was doing, my God, he's the male version of her in WWE. And their outfits were ridiculous. I understand you want to have an old school aspect of their outfits. They got the black blazers with the AEW logo on it. The AEW logo should be very subtle. It's a very distinguished logo. You got the black and the gold. It's going to pop on a black fucking vest. This thing was blown up like it was a fucking Christmas tree on their outfit. What is that? Looks like some fucking idiot sewed that shit on and he didn't know how big to make it. They looked ridiculous. I love the old school aspect of it, but man, these are things that I noticed that are eye-catching. And I think add to the overall presentation of things. I really do. They weren't even located by ringside. That's another thing I didn't like. I love when the commentary team is right there in front of the action. These guys were up in the fucking skybox somewhere doing commentary. They were looking down above the crowd in the MGM Grand Arena. Just little things like that I wish that they change moving forward. So I don't mean to shit on all the presentation because it wasn't that bad, but those are little things that they have to work on from my point of view. As far as the camera work goes, the camera work was very good. The presentation on TV, especially on the stream, came off very well. There was a few parts where the presentation was not up to par, but if you're going to compare it to a WWE production, I mean, nobody does it better than WWE. That has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of their fucking programming on what happens in the ring or what storylines are going on. WWE productions are always top-notch. But the AEW production tonight, minus a few kinks here and there, minus a few camera angles that were out of place, like the Bret Hart unveiling of the world title, that entire segment, they didn't really get a good shot of the world title. They were filming behind Bret when all I was doing and saying in the fucking back of my head, will you fucking turn the camera to the other side so I can see the front of the fucking title, please? So little things like that here and there, a few missed spots, someone jumping over the top rope, I got the wrong camera on, I couldn't see what was going on. Little things like that, little quirks. I'm sure that will all be worked out when they go to TNT. I'm not really too worried about that, but the overall feel and presentation of it, it did mimic something that could easily rival WWE. I honestly felt like I was watching the Monday Night Wars all over again. I really did. And I think that's going to be worked out by the time they get to TNT. As far as everything else goes, I had no problem with it. As far as sound goes, I don't know who they got composing their music or where they got their music done. Music to me is just as big as commentary. Music to me is just as big as commentary. I need impactful music. You know, not everybody can have a Judas by Fozzy, Chris Jericho with his own fucking band doing his own theme music. You know, I understand that, but the music is just as important as the commentary. You need impactful music. You need powerful music to get behind certain wrestlers. I hope that's fixed, and I hope they find a good composer to come up with theme music for everybody on the roster. So we'll see what happens with that. Those are minor things. Those are things that I'm sure will be worked out over time. I'm not expecting AEW to come out and be 100% perfect because nobody can. But those are the things that bothered me just right out of the gate, out of the pre-show. Now, the Battle Royal. The winner of this, the first match of the night, Battle Royal receives a shot at the AEW World Championship. The winner of the Battle Royal, I should say, receives a shot at the AEW World Championship. Now, this match was very confusing. It looked like they didn't even know what the rules were. As the match went on, I thought they actually had lost track of what the fuck was going on. Very sloppy right out of the gate. I'm like, uh-oh, here we go. Here we go. But it ended up actually working itself out. I guess they got a little stage fright. I guess everybody was a little nervous. That's what I attributed it to. So we got the first suit being drawn. So each suit, 5 men would come out in each suit randomly, and I guess whomever was making these decisions was picking whatever suit came out next. So we had this. The Diamonds came out first. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. It was the Clubs who kicked off the Casino Battle Royale. It was Dustin Thomas, Sunny Days, Brandon Cutler, Michael Nakazawa, and MJF, who called me poor this weekend. So MJF is fantastic. He had a great role in this entire show. I love MJF. So the clubs came out, and then we had the Diamonds come out next. Isaiah Cassidy, Jimmy Havoc, Joey Janela with Penelope Ford, Sean Spears, a.k.a. Ty Dillinger, and Flying Brian Pillman Jr. Pillman took out Cassidy on the ramp. Havoc took out Pillman. Everybody was going crazy here. Out came the Heart Suite. And we had Billy Gunn, Glacier, Mark Quinn, Ace Romero, and Jungle Boy. They were part of the Hart family. And a lot of people were in the ring at the same time at this point. Glacier and MJF went at it at one point. MJF knocked Glacier off with a karate kick kind of pose. He was mimicking Glacier there. Glacier wiped him out, hit a big chop. Daze ended up eliminated Nakazawa. So Michael Nakazawa was eliminated. Glacier eliminated Daze, and then MJF quickly eliminated Glacier. Glacier looked pretty decent. He was just there for the nostalgia effect. Sunny Daze was eliminated. Glacier was eliminated. This is going in the order of eliminations. The Spades came out next. Luchasaurus, who looked very impressive in this Battle Royal. Marco Stunt, Sonny Kiss, Tommy Dreamer, and Orange Cassidy came down to the ring. Now, I am not big on Tommy Dreamer, especially in 2019. I honestly think Tommy Dreamer is one of those guys that is good for a certain role like this, but not when he starts bringing out trash pails. The last thing in 2019 I want to see is Tommy Dreamer hitting somebody with a fucking trash pail lid. I mean, it's lame. It really is lame. I understand him wanting to be there and him getting a pop and, an ECW chant here and there, but having Tommy Dreamer do the whole hardcore thing in 2019, the way that he does it, it's lame. That's just the way I feel about that. Orange Cassidy was a guy that a lot of people were talking about during the pre-show. This guy is, this is his gimmick. And my buddy Rusty said this perfectly tonight. He is the new Christian. And he's going to be fucking hilarious playing this Christian role. He plays a role of somebody who legitimately doesn't give a shit. He comes to the ring. He's a fucking pro wrestler. He's dressed in pro wrestling gear. He's wearing boots. He's wearing knee pads, right? He comes down to the ring wearing his sunglasses. He's got his hands in his pockets. And he goes about everything with little to zero effort. And it comes off as funny because this is a wrestling event and a battle royal in which everybody's contesting to be the number one contender for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. And here he is throwing fucking weak-ass kicks and, weak-ass chops. Give a shit. He actually got knocked down and he did a kip-up with his hands in his fucking pockets. Then he got thrown over the top rope and didn't give a shit that he was eliminated. It was hilarious without them being blatant with it. He's just fucking naturally funny. I find it to be hilarious. This is not like R-Truth going out there dressing as Carmella, wanting to evade the rest of the WWE locker room because of the 24/7 title. It's not supposed to be in-your-face funny. It's a very subtle funny because it's unexpected. Like, you've never seen anything like it. You've never seen a character like that before. He's in the ring. He doesn't give a shit. Yet, I know, because I was at the Evolve show when Johnny Gargano went one-on-one with Austin Theory, how good the fucking guy is. Because he actually did break out and start doing legit wrestling moves in the ring. So the guy can actually fucking go, but that's his gimmick. A guy who just doesn't give a shit. You gotta love it. It's different and it's funny. Luchasaurus, Marco Stunt, Sonny Kiss, Tommy Dreamer, Orange Cassidy, they came to the ring. Dreamer got the trash can. He tossed it into the ring. Dreamer took everybody out with a trash can lid. Luchasaurus hit a double chokeslam on Private Party. Proud of my guys in Private Party, Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy. They look to be excited to be there, and I'm expecting big things from them in AEW. Now, we had one more entrant in this match, and it was the Joker card. Hangman Page came out at number 21, and he was the guy that everybody was wondering, what is Hangman Page going to do? Is he going to be on the show? Does he have a match? Is he going to interfere in some match and cost maybe Jericho or Omega the title match? We didn't know what was going on. They had to rush the Pac match. They did it overseas in Europe for whatever reason, whether it's creative indifference or Pac Just couldn't get a work visa in time to be here in the States, which is probably a definite factor in why he did not make the show. Could have been creative indifference as well, but I think that is the sole reason for that, so they had to do it over there. But putting him in this Battle Royal was merely just making up for the Pac match and putting him right back into the position that the Pac match would have put him in. So as soon as he came out, yeah, it kind of made things a little predictable because I really didn't think Hangman was going to lose this thing. And putting him in there, like I said, you put him right back into the position that the Pac match was going to have him in anyway. So it's like you traded one for the other. Hangman comes down, and he's in the match. He's the last entrant. Fans are fired up. Paige is obviously limping because of what Pac did with the steel chair in that match. He had the Joker card. Paige ran down to the ring, wiping everybody out. Janela and Paige began exchanging blows in the middle of the ring. Paige hit a dead eye on Janela. Looked brutal. Paige tried to lift Ace Romero. Guy is fucking massive. Hurt his leg in the process, selling the knee injury. Private Party was ultimately eliminated. I didn't see them physically get eliminated. This was one of the things with the camera angles and the camera work. I did not see Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn get eliminated, but they were eliminated. They were on the outside. Ace Romero, I don't know what the fuck Marco Stunt was doing. He bounced off the ropes. I don't know where he was going or what he was doing or who he was aiming at. But Ace Romero shoulder tackled him, picked him up, and launched him over the top rope in one fluid motion as he bounced off the ropes adjacent to Ace Romero, and he threw Marco Stunt onto everybody that was just eliminated on the outside. So Marco Stunt was eliminated in a great spot with Ace Romero. Jungle Boy looks impressive. He's one of those guys I'm going to keep my eye on, man. Jungle Boy, he's got a great look. And he's got better hair than AJ Styles. I'm saying right now. He's got great hair. Don't know what he does, what type of fucking shit he uses, but I'm jealous. So, we got Jungle Boy. I'm over here talking about fucking Jungle Boy's hair. Jungle Boy was tossed, he tossed Romero to the floor. So he actually eliminated the biggest guy in the match, which was very impressive. That's a nice moment for Jungle Boy. So Ace Romero was eliminated. Dustin Thomas hit a 619 on Janela, followed up by a 450 that the fans absolutely went crazy for. MJF ran up and nailed him with a kick. Thomas used a guillotine up top to grab Shawn Spears and throw him to the floor. So Dustin Thomas eliminated Shawn Spears in the Battle Royal. I'm expecting big things from him as well in AEW. Thomas went for a slingshot, but MJF sent him to, of course MJF had to eliminate the one guy who is the most different in the match. You know, Dustin Thomas, the story of Dustin Thomas is so great. You know, he's got no legs. Of course, MJF is going to eliminate somebody like that because it's going to get him the fucking heat that he wants. It's perfect. Something so simple like that is so brilliant. So MJF sent him to the floor. So we had Cutler then eliminated Billy Gunn. MJF then eliminated Cutler. Luchasaurus eliminated Janela. And I don't know if Janela is alive at the end of this thing. There was a table set up on the outside. Luchasaurus chokeslammed him through a table. And I swear to God, if Janela isn't wearing a neck brace at the end of the night, I would be shocked. I legitimately thought he was fucking killed. He comes back from a devastating injury in which I don't even know how he's back in such a short amount of time, and he takes a bump like that in a fucking Battle Royal. The guy is out of his fucking mind. Dustin Thomas was eliminated. Brandon Cutler and Joey Janela, Sonny Kiss, all eliminated. Dreamer sent Kiss to the floor. Cassidy casually entered the ring and hit some light kicks on Dreamer. Cassidy then took a right hand with his hands in his pockets, nipped up. That was one of my favorite spots of the entire night. Dreamer then tossed him out to the floor, and he didn't really give a shit. He still had his hands in his pockets, and he walked away. Hilarious. Orange Cassidy was eliminated. Havoc then takes a staple gun and staples fucking Tommy Dreamer below the belt, if you know what I mean. Havoc stapled Dreamer and then eliminated him. Jimmy Havoc was then eliminated. MJF tossed Jungle Boy over the top rope. He hung on, but Havoc bit his fingers and he fell to the floor. Jungle Boy and Havoc were both eliminated. It's down to the final four. MJF, Paige, Luchasaurus, and Jimmy Havoc. Oh, no, Jimmy Havoc wasn't eliminated. It was Tommy Dreamer was eliminated. So Jimmy Havoc's in the end here. MJF, Luchasaurus, and Hangman Page. MJF rolled under the rope to the floor. He was on the outside. He went into the role of, let me sleep on the outside until the last guy is in the ring so I could make my big comeback here. Havoc went to the apron, and Luchasaurus booted him to the floor, eliminating him. So it was down to the final three. Luchasaurus hit a big kneeling flapjack on Page. He charged the Page, and then he pulled the ropes low to eliminate him. Luchasaurus was eliminated. So Hangman Page was in the match. he thought he had won. MJF comes in. He comes in from the outside. He was sleeping. He wasn't sleeping on the outside long enough to make that big surprise entrance as, oh, look, you're not done yet. So Hangman eventually eliminated him, tossed MJF to the floor, and Hangman wins this Battle Royal in 24 minutes, and he becomes the number one contender for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. It was not better than the over-the-budget Battle Royal at All In. It got off to a very rough start. It looked like they didn't know the rules. There was a little bit of confusion on when the next card suit came out, and it was just very sloppy in presentation, and then it kind of picked up with some pretty decent and funny spots, some brutal spots towards the end. It ended up being a fun Battle Royal, but if I'm going to compare this with the over-the-budget Battle Royal at All In, I'm going to go with the over-the-budget Battle Royal. I thought that was a little bit more special feeling, and I think they really tried too hard with this. I'm trying to make it unique, but it is what it is, and we got the predictable Adam Hangman Page winning the number one contender shot for the AEW World Championship. Next match on the pre-show was Sammy Guevarra versus Kip Saban. I was very interested to see what these two guys do. They were at the weigh-in at StarCast, and they were one of the few to get physical there on stage. Sammy Guevarra low-blowed Kip Saban on stage there at StarCast. Kip Saban wins in 9 minutes. I wish these guys would have got a little bit more time. It started off slow, and then they finally started to pick up in the second part of the match, and by the time they started to pick it up, it was over. I love Sammy Guevarra. He comes off. He's very young. He looks like a fucking prick. He plays the role of a prick. He's very cocky. He reminds me of TJP. He reminds me of a lot of what TJP used to do in WWE when he was a heel. But Sammy Guevarra here loses. Kip Saban wins in 9 minutes. Saban ended up on the barricade, and Guevarra hit a huge move off the apron to the guardrail. Fucking crazy. I don't know if I don't remember what it was. I think it was a shooting star press, I believe it was. Shooting star press while Kip Saban was draped on the ring apron on the outside, or the barricade rather. Guevarra went up top, went for a 640, and Saban got his knees up. Then he hit the Deathly Hollows for the win, and Kip Saban beat Sammy Guevarra in 9 minutes. Decent match. It was actually called the first singles match in AEW history, and that is pretty much what they can hang their hat on. Other than that, it was a pretty decent match. Nothing all that spectacular. Kip Saban and Sammy Guevarra, decent pre-show match, but Kip Saban wins here in 9 minutes. We got to the main show. The main show. Jim Ross joined everybody on commentary. Alex Marvez and Excalibur, three-man booth. Justin Roberts introduced the singing of the national anthem by the Jackson family. Christopher Jackson from Hamilton sang with his wife and son. The opening video package. The video packages for AEW were very, very, very well produced. So that is the one thing I really did enjoy about this, especially the Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho video package before their match. Very good stuff. So we started off with the six-man tag. SCU, Christopher Daniels, Scorpio Sky, and Frankie Kazarian versus the Strong Hearts. It was Shima, T-Hawk, and Lindemann. This was non-stop for about 15 minutes, and I loved every minute of this, man. And I loved a match like this to open the show because of the styles that all six men have. And the crowd was hot. They were ready for this show to begin. They were ready for the main card. And you want to get the Strong Hearts over as a legitimate threat in AEW. You want to get that partnership really out there and show everybody why you're partnering with the Strong Hearts. And this was great. It didn't stop. Fast action back and forth. Christopher Daniels, Scorpio Sky, and Frankie Kazarian win this match to open Double or Nothing, which took me by surprise because I thought that with the relationship with all three men with AEW, I figured that them getting the win would be a little more of what they would have done as far as logic goes creatively to establish that relationship. And that really didn't go the way that I expected it to, but in no way, shape, or form did the Strong Hearts look weak in this match. They were fucking great. This was a fantastic open. So at the end of this thing, Daniels hits Angel's Wings on Hawk. Lindemann hit him with a German, and Shima came off the top with a Meteora, beautifully done. Kazarian came out of nowhere to break up the pin. Sky hits an insane flip dive to the floor. SCU hits the best Meltzer driver ever, and that was on Lindemann, and they got the pin and the win. Fantastic way to open the show. I have absolutely no problems with the way Double or Nothing opened up. This was perfect. SCU wins, and the Strong Hearts in defeat looked fantastic. You're going to want to see them again come October, no question. Job well done by everybody here, and the relationship got off to a great start with the Strong Hearts. We had Kylee Ray versus Nyla Rose versus Dr. Britt Baker. This was supposed to be a triple threat match, and then all of a sudden, we have Brandy Rhodes come out, and Brandy Rhodes says, you know, when I said I want this match to be great, I really meant it. And I want this match to be great, but at the end of the day, I really want this match to be awesome. Simple as that. She came out in her wrestling gear. I thought she was going to pull a fucking Stephanie McMahon and actually make the match a fatal four-way with herself included. I'm glad that she did. And the reason why she was in her wrestling gear was because we would find out later on that she interjected herself in the Dustin Cody match and got kicked out of the arena. So that's why she was wearing her wrestling gear. But at the time we seen this, I think everybody was thinking on the same wavelengths as me. I thought she was actually going to be in the match. So I went from Kylee Ray, Nyla Rose, Britt Baker, triple threat to a fatal four-way, and out comes Awesome Kong. Huge pop for Awesome Kong. Awesome Kong. I was going to say Awesome Karm because it was Karma in WWE. That was her WWE name, Karma. It was great to see Awesome Kong back in the ring. If you guys remember, she had quit the wrestling business because she had, complications of a failed birth, and she went through a miscarriage. And I don't know what that did as far as her professional wrestling career, but it threw her into a serious depression, and she left the business. And here she is. She looked better than ever. She looked great. She looked the part. She looked dominating. Nyla Rose was supposed to be the giant, the monster woman in this match. And Awesome Kong came in, and I love the line from, I believe it was Excalibur. You know, Nyla Rose was supposed to be the giant in this match, and here comes Awesome Kong, and she makes Nyla Rose look like a fucking cruiserweight. And that's exactly what it looked like. Awesome Kong is massive. So it went from a triple threat to a fatal four-way. And Awesome Kong was only used in this match to pretty much get that pop from the crowd. That's all it really was. I enjoyed seeing her. She didn't really play a factor into the match. She did a few moves here and there. She looked dominating at certain points. She went back and forth with Nyla Rose, throwing her dominance and her weight around. But Awesome Kong being in this match obviously did great for the crowd. They enjoyed it. But what I think it was done for was to get that pop initially and say, hey, look, we got a great women's division blooming here. But at the same time, it also took away from Nyla Rose. You made such a big deal about Nyla Rose being the monster of your division, and here you are bringing out a woman twice the size of Nyla Rose. So how is that making Nyla Rose look? So I didn't really appreciate that aspect of it when you had done so much for Nyla Rose to build her up. And Awesome Kong, she really didn't do much of anything in this match. She got thrown to the outside. She was on the outside for a little bit. She came back and started to mount some sort of a comeback. She went back and forth with Nyla Rose, and that was pretty much it. Then they ended up taking themselves out in the later portion of the match. What I loved about this match was the back and forth between Kylee Ray and Britt Baker. That's what I wanted to see more of. Now, with Kylee Ray, a lot of people tell me that this is her real persona. And if it is, God bless the girl. I could see myself getting very, very, very turned off by Kylee Ray very quickly. There's one thing to be bubbly and over the top and happy and smiley, but honestly, real life, nobody is that fucking bubbly. And the more bubbly you are like that, the more I'm going to not like you. Because nobody could be that fucking happy all the time. But there is a switch to Kylee Ray, which we've seen in the latter portion of this match with Britt Baker. There was one point, it was a great visual, her fucking yellow bow was hanging off her hair. It was about to fall off. Britt Baker super kicks Kylee Ray's teeth down her throat, and the fucking bow falls to the ground. I love it. I love it. This isn't Bayley. This isn't a take on Bayley. This is Bayley to the fucking 10th degree. This is Bayley times 1,000. Bayley isn't this annoying. Bayley was never this annoying with the fucking hugs. Bayley was always subdued. But if she's going to continue doing that, I don't know how much I'm going to be a fan of Kylee Ray. But that takes nothing away from what the woman could do in the ring. I wanted to see more of her and Britt Baker in the ring. Fucking Nyla Rose and her Awesome Kong. When Britt Baker and Kylee Ray got into the closing portion of this match, I wanted to see more of both of these women. And both of these women have a great future in AEW. So Baker hit a swinging kick, or a swinging neck breaker on Ray inside the ring, and that was for a near fall. Ray rolled through on Baker, hit a Chaos Theory with a bridge for a near fall. Ray was fired up. Baker nailed her with a super kick. Her bow fell to the ground, and that signaled the end of the match because Britt Baker hit a Ushigoroshi. I wonder where she took that one from. Definitely took that from her boyfriend, Adam Cole. That's right in his fucking wheelhouse. Kylee Ray gets the loss here. She suffers the pin. Britt Baker wins in 12 minutes. It was a great match in the tail end of everything with Kylee Ray and Britt Baker, but Awesome Kong being in there was nothing more for a pop, and it actually, in my eyes, took away from what Nyla Rose was supposed to be for AEW. Good match overall. I can't wait to see more of Britt Baker and Kylee Ray in AEW. The Best Friends versus Angelico and Jack Evans. This is Chucky T and Trent Beretta versus Angelico and Jack Evans. Obviously, you guys know Jack Evans and Angelico from Lucha Underground. Jack Evans was part of Johnny Mundo's stable in Lucha Underground, and Angelico was a former Trios champion in Lucha Underground. This was a great fucking match. Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta win in 12 minutes. And the only gripe I had about this match was the simple fact that the fucking stream that I was watching it on went out for a good portion of this match. And I had to pretty much catch up on how everything transpired in this match. That's the only downfall. It has nothing to do with them in the ring. But the stream kind of went out and was giving me a hard fucking time during this match. Other than that, it was fine. What we got here in this match, and I knew what we were going to get with the Lucha Brothers and the fucking Young Bucks. I knew what we were going to get. This was the one match that I was looking forward to kind of be the match that solidifies what I'm already thinking anyway, that AEW's tag team division is going to be fucking amazing, and that's exactly what this match did. At the end of this thing, AEW solidified themselves as having the best tag team division in all of pro wrestling. That's all this match did. Chuck T and Trent Beretta win here in 12 minutes. This was a fantastic match. Trent got a roll-up on Evans for a near fall. Angelico sent Trent into the turnbuckles. Angelico missed a splash to the floor on Taylor. He got Evans up on his shoulders, and Trent came off with a big doomsday knee strike. Taylor wiped out Angelico with a dive to the floor. Taylor and Trent then hit a stuffed strong zero on Evans for the win, and they go on to get the win over Angelico and Jack Evans. After the match, the fans wanted them to hug, and both teams went to hug, and the lights went out. So we were going to see two teams who legitimately fucking tore the house down in 12 minutes, showing you why tag team wrestling needs to be a fucking staple in pro wrestling on WWE television, right? And the lights go out. All four of these guys were going to embrace, and out come a tag team that I've personally never seen before. The Super Smash Brothers. And I'm not talking about fucking Kirby, Bowser, and Donkey Kong fighting in Nintendo Land. I'm talking about Stu Grayson and Evil Uno. The Super Smash Brothers. These are two guys that the Young Bucks went out and personally recruited for AEW. The lights came on, and here were the Super Smash Brothers. And the lights went out again. The lights came on. And the minions of the Super Smash Brothers, dressed in these green masks, beat up the Best Friends. The Smash Brothers worked over Angelico and Evans inside the ring. Alex Marvez says he doesn't know who these guys are. Somebody who was so knowledgeable and so uncharismatic during the evening, he didn't know what the fuck was going on. Thank you for explaining to us who the fuck these guys are. I would have enjoyed some sort of explanation, so I didn't have to research it on my own. So these guys are beating up everybody in the ring. Alex Marvez says that he don't know who they are. So they wiped out Trent with a big tandem maneuver. It looked like a fucking, I don't know what it was. It looked like a hangman's neck breaker off the top rope. It looked like a devastating move. I'm assuming that's their finishing move. A blockbuster off the top rope. And the best part of this entire thing was that the minions of the Smash Brothers made a human-like throne for one of them to sit on. So it was awesome. It was great. And I'm expecting that these guys are going to be a dominating tag team in the division. They actually reminded me a little of the War Raiders. Reminded me a little of War Machine. But these guys apparently were signed by AEW at the request of the Young Bucks. And apparently they got signed. I'm assuming that they're fucking going to be a huge addition to the tag team division. I'm assuming that they got signed for a reason because they're fucking good at what they do. I'm excited to see these guys. I'm excited to see where the tag team division goes. So they came out and destroyed both of these teams after a great match, and that was pretty much it. They announced All In 2, officially called All Out, taking place in Chicago on August 31st, the Sears Center. Alex Marvez says tickets go on sale June 12th. Good luck. Good luck. Aja Kong, Yuka Sakazaki, and Emi Sakura versus Hikaru Shida, Ryo Abi, and Ryo Mizunami. I would be lying if I told you I paid attention to this match, because I did. This one went 13 minutes, and the only thing that I remember from this match, because I really wasn't paying too much attention, and can you blame me? Seriously, can you blame me for not really paying attention? I'm not taking anything away from these women, but the simple fact of the matter is, I don't know who they are. I can't watch something from 6 women. Aja Kong I'm familiar with. Other than that, the 5 others, I don't know who the fuck they are. You can't ask me to sit there and invest my time in someone that I don't know. In this case, 5 other women that I don't know. And the one thing that stood out in this match was the fucking fact that the referee fucked up. The referee fucked up. I don't know if the referee fucked up or the timekeeper fucked up. There was a fuck up somewhere. Someone got a miscue. It looked like a 3 count. Referee said it was a 2. There was a kick out. The timekeeper rang the bell. And the theme music for the winners apparently started to play on the PA system. They had to cut all that because it wasn't the planned ending of the match. And it ended up being fucking chaos. It looked really fucking shitty. The finish being botched and the bell ringing and the music playing really took me completely out of the match. And I really wasn't invested to begin with. And again, I'm not taking anything away from these 6 women. It's just not my cup of tea. It really is not. You may enjoy that style of wrestling. You may enjoy what the women do in Japan. I don't. I'm not familiar with it. I'm not going to go out and research it. There's too much for me on my plate as it is. I'm not going to go out there and fucking look up who these women are. I just didn't care. And honestly, at the end of the night, looking back at it, this was the come down match. This was placed in the middle of the card to kind of just let people rest for what was about to come for the rest of the show. That's all it was to me. So you got Ryo Mizunami and Hikaru Shida winning in 13 minutes. There you go. The women worked their ass off. I just really didn't give a shit about it. Cody Rhodes with Brandy versus Dustin Rhodes. Now, Cody made his entrance. First of all, the video package was fantastic with both of these guys. Cody made his entrance, and all you seen was a shot of a throne that looked very similar to what Triple H is known for sitting in. He's the King of Kings. A king and his throne. The fucking emblem on the back of the throne looked very similar to Triple H's cross logo. The skulls were very reminiscent and similar to what Triple H usually dresses himself in and comes out with. Skulls. So Cody came out with Brandy. He was wearing a gold and blue and white robe. He was dressed in gold, blue, and white. He had a belt that said Attitude Killer written across it. And he walked down to the ring. He looked at the throne and he walked down to the ring. I thought it was just there for aesthetics. I really didn't think at the time it was going to be factored into anything. So he takes off his robe. He's standing outside the ring on the ramp. Brandy goes underneath the ring and takes a sledgehammer, hands the sledgehammer to Cody. He goes up the ramp in front of the throne, takes the sledgehammer and smashes the throne. It splits in half. And I'm like, here we go. Here we go. For a company that doesn't want to throw shots at WWE, they threw the biggest fucking shot they could have possibly ever conceived. A fucking throne with Triple H's logo on it, and using Triple H's preferred weapon of choice, a goddamn sledgehammer. I don't know why they're targeting Triple H. I'm assuming they're targeting Triple H because of his pissant t-shirt company comment. Whatever the case may be, for a company that doesn't want a war, you pretty much signaled a fucking war with that one sequence on Double or Nothing. So I don't know what your game plan is here. I know you're confident in your abilities to put on a good show after tonight. I know you're proud of what you did. But do you really want to go to war with WWE? Is Triple H the guy that you should be going to war with? Or are you sure you want to do this and not target Vince McMahon? Maybe Vince McMahon should be the man that you're targeting. Triple H is for change. Triple H wants WWE to be better. Anything he said about AEW was done tongue-in-cheek to make himself look cool in front of his peers at the WWE Hall of Fame. Triple H is not the one you should be targeting. Vince McMahon is the one who is legitimately killing the WWE, and the reason why AEW is existing right now is because you want to give the fans and the business an alternative away from Vince McMahon's demented vision. So again, I ask, is Triple H the guy that you should be targeting? Does it look good for Cody to be doing things like he did tonight? Does he think he looks cool because of that? Or does he look like a guy who is not proud of his company? And is he merely doing this AEW thing to get back at WWE for treating him and his family wrong? I don't know. He seems more like a guy who is bent on revenge and being driven by revenge and redemption more than being proud of the fucking company that he is now a part of and building from the ground up. That's just the way I see it, and I don't really think you want to send off those type of vibes. Now, Dustin Rhodes came out. He looked great. Came out dressed in black with red, half of his face painted. Ross says that is a mighty long walk for a 50-year-old man, and his music sounded very familiar. I don't know exactly if it was something that they played as far as a real band goes, but it sounded very punk-like in theme, punk music themed wise. I don't know what it was. I don't know if maybe it was Blink-182 or Green Day or something like that. It sounded like that type of vibe. I don't know what it was, but he came down and this match was off, and I knew what this match was going to be before we even got the conclusion of the match. I knew it was going to be a methodical match. I knew it was going to be brutal. I knew it was going to see some color. And a lot of people were very taken back by this match because of Dustin's age, and people say Cody is not a superstar. Cody is one of those guys that thinks he's bigger than he really is. I honestly don't agree with any of that. I honestly think Dustin has a lot left in the tank. I think he was given the shaft in WWE and really held down from being creative at all in his later years. Cody doesn't really get the credit that he deserves. He is a great mind. He's someone who's passionate about this business, and he's a great fucking storyteller. Cody knows how to tell a story in that ring, and this was no different. A lot of people standing and sitting at ringside were posting pictures on social media about how bloody this match was. This went almost 25 minutes, and people were saying that this, at the end of the night, was the best match of the night. First of all, one of the highlights of the match where Dustin had put Cody on the second turnbuckle. He was going to do his signature kick to the balls in the corner. So he spread Cody's legs, and he went for Shattered Dreams. Cody took off the middle turnbuckle pad, and this obviously played the biggest factor into the entire match. Dustin threw the pad into the crowd, so someone obviously got a fucking major souvenir from Double or Nothing tonight. And I love Alex. Oh, no, it wasn't Alex Marvez, because he was fucking completely god-awful on commentary. It was Excalibur who said, well, that's going on eBay tonight. Would not be surprised, man. I like quick-witted comments like that. That's something that my partner Matthew Ryan Shapiro would have said. I loved it. I thought that was great. So he threw the turnbuckle pad into the crowd and charged at Cody, who tripped him into the exposed turnbuckle. His face went right into the exposed steel. So then Brandy, on the outside, she sees Dustin roll to the outside after he hit his fucking face on the turnbuckle. She hit a spear on Dustin on the outside, and Earl Hebner. Earl Hebner was the one referee in this match. This was the only match that he called all night. Cody wants to kill the Attitude Era. You got fucking Goldust, who is a major part of the Attitude Era. Jim Ross on commentary, who was the voice of the Attitude Era. Earl Hebner, who was WWE's most senior referee during the Attitude Era. Attention to detail, folks. Attention to detail. Earl Hebner refereeing this match was Simple, but it needed to happen. And he looked great. He played the role of the referee beautifully. Looked like he didn't miss a beat. He ended up kicking out Brandy. Brandy hit a spear. Brandy actually has a better spear than Roman Reigns. Just saying that right now. Brandy hit a fucking beautiful spear on Dustin. Earl Hebner actually kicked her out of the match. She would not leave. Out comes DDP. He came out and carried Brandy to the back, and she was gone for the rest of the match. We got Cody and Dustin, who is bleeding profusely. He is fucking bleeding, dripping blood everywhere. Cody's taking the fucking blood from Dustin's face and wiping it on his body. Like he's killing his fucking brother and wiping the fucking blood that he has from his brother on his body as a signal of fucking war, as a signal of victory. It was disgusting. People with Brian Alvarez took a picture on social media, put it on Twitter. Fucking puddles of blood on the outside. It was truly disgusting. So it was Cody and Dustin in a back and forth blood brawl. A literal blood brawl between brothers. I guess they're now blood brothers. So Cody fought out of a crossroads. Dustin hit crossroads on Cody. Hit a low blow with the referee distracted. Hit a disaster kick for a near fall. Showed a great spot of just people just selling, or being invested in this match. They sold everybody on what they were doing in the ring. Ross was great on. This was actually his best match of the entire night. They got to their feet. Dustin hit a headbutt. Then he hit crossroads for a second time for a near fall. Fans believed that was the finish. I actually thought it was over. I'm like, this is over. This has got to be it. Kicked out. So after that, Dustin picked up Cody, went for a punch. They began trading punches back and forth. Cody came alive, started throwing punches back and forth. They were tiring each other out. Drop down, Cody did. He hit Goldust's signature punch, the one where he falls back on his back and hit Dustin in the face. So they began trading punches. Cody dropped down, hit Goldust's signature punch. Dustin returned the favor with one of his own. Cody hit a bicycle kick. He then bounced off the ropes, and Dustin charged towards him, and both men collided in midair. Dustin rolled over and made the cover for a near fall. Looked like Dustin was able to counter a neckbreaker on top of that exchange. Fans chanted, "Fight forever." They didn't want this match to end. They were completely invested in what was going on here. Dustin slapped Cody, but Cody lifted him and hit Din's Fire. Cody broke the referee's standing 10 count, hit Crossroads, made the cover, and Dustin loses against Cody. This was a fantastic match with great storytelling. And at the end of the match, this was the best part of the whole match. Emotional. You even seen fucking Jim Ross mention, I'm not crying, I just got allergies. And Excalibur was shown on commentary, slightly taking off his mask and wiping his eyes. Alex Marvez, guy's got no fucking excitement or charisma in his fucking body. He stood there like a fucking corpse as always. So Cody left the ring. He came back into the ring. He took the microphone. Cody asked the fans to hold up. Let's be quiet for a second. Cody says, you don't get to retire here. Cody then asks Dustin for a favor. He says, in front of God and the whole world, before AEW was a thing and we filled this place up, it was him, Matt, Nick, Kenny, and Tony. Cody then says he put this match down for their show next month, and he signed himself to a match. And his partner is going to be a person of his choosing. So it's going to be a tag team match. He said they would have a match against the Young Bucks, who he called the best tag team in the world. Cody says he doesn't need a partner or a friend. Cody then got emotional, and so did Dustin. And everybody was getting emotional at this point. He says, I don't need a partner or a friend. I need my older brother. They both hugged in the middle of the ring. Fans went crazy for this. Huge emotional moment. What a scene. And that's exactly what it was. Unbelievable match. Unbelievable match. The story that was told here, and I mentioned this in the build and the lead up to this, was far more than Cody getting back at Triple H and wanting to kill the Attitude Era. That was all done for theatrics. That was all done to build hype for the match. The reason why this match happened, and the reason why the match was laid out exactly the way it was for Dusty Rhodes. This was a take on the old school. They went out there. They went out there without any handcuffs. This is the product of a match that was the creative of two guys who they knew they were handcuffed in WWE. They went out there and gave you the match that they wanted to give you all these years that they couldn't do at WrestleMania. And that's exactly what they went out there and did. And the story that was told here was so much more than what Cody made it with the Attitude Era. This was about Dusty. It was always about Dusty. The day that this match was made, and the day that Goldust got released from WWE and he became Dustin Rhodes, and he retired the Goldust face paint and the Goldust suit, it was about Dusty. Cody signing Dusty to Dustin to AEW and doing this for Dusty was the most important aspect of this match. This was a match that needed to happen, and Dusty is looking down proud. Dusty is looking down proud at both of his sons. This is one of the biggest main events of the night. There's no better match to do than this one. It needed to happen. It wasn't for the Attitude Era. It wasn't for the marquee of brother versus brother, because that's an easy sell. Underneath all of that, it was for Dusty. And they made him fucking proud tonight. Out next is Bret Hart. He's out there to reveal the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. I'm wondering at this point what Vince McMahon thinks of Bret the Hitman Hart coming out there to unveil his rival's World Championship. Fans chanted, "Holy shit." Hart said he was thankful to be in Las Vegas. He explained that he was here 26 years ago to defend the world title. He says it's an honor for him to be here and be in front of a sold-out crowd and unveil the World Championship for a new promotion. He thanked AEW and everybody associated with the company for allowing him to be here to present and be a part of this big moment. Hart brought out Adam Hangman Page, who is going to face the winner of Omega and Chris Jericho for the belt in a few months. Now, Bret Hart actually tripped up and said that Page would have this match next month, but it won't be for a few months, which probably means that it's going to happen in Chicago for All Out. Page came down and shook hands with Page. MJF came out before anything was even said and interrupted the entire fucking night. He interrupted this entire moment. Fans chanted asshole at MJF, and I'm telling you, man, when MJF came out there and he was in front of that crowd, dressed to impress, he had his Burberry scarf, fans chanted asshole at him. I got a small glimpse of the Attitude Era. You got Bret Hart in the fucking ring. MJF is out there with a microphone in his hand. Guys shitting on everybody. Fans chanting asshole at him. He's like, you guys are chanting asshole at me, but you spent money for this show to be here tonight to watch someone like me. So he shit on the fans. He yelled at a fan who was running into the ring at Bret Hart, or he joked about the fan running into the ring at the Hall of Fame against Bret Hart. He's like, Bret, watch out, there's somebody. And he started making a joke about the Hall of Fame incident. And he had a smirk on his face while doing it. So MJF pointed at Hangman Page and said, God knows a horse can't be the face of this company. MJF asked if Page knows what happens when a horse has a bum leg. He said they're about as useless as these trash-ass fans, so you take them to the back and blow their stupid brains out. MJF then told Page to do the right thing and save himself the agony of him beating him to a pulp. MJF says he should relinquish his title shot and give it to a real man. He called out Bret Hart for being old. He took another look at him, and he did Bret Hart's catchphrase, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. And before he finished saying it, he's like, I'm not even going to finish saying it because that catchphrase sucks. MJF then did his I'm better than you catchphrase, and Page went after him. MJF backed away. He started walking backwards up the ramp. Out came Jungle Boy to stop MJF from going anywhere. Now, MJF says that Jungle Boy looks like a prepubescent teenager, and out comes Jimmy Havoc. So he walked by Jungle Boy, and then out came Jimmy Havoc, who made his way to the stage. And Jim Ross says he looks like a walking hardcore death match. Yes, Mr. JR, we get it. He's a hardcore wrestler. Page got in MJF's face. He's surrounded by MJF. Or he surrounds MJF with Jungle Boy. And MJF is trying to fight his way out, but he was quickly overwhelmed. Page tossed him into the crowd. Jungle Boy and Havoc then went after him into the crowd. And Bret Hart pretty much was all alone in the ring and unveiled the World Heavyweight Championship with It looks like a mix of an old school design mixed with a IWGP World Heavyweight Championship style. That's what it looked like. And I didn't get a close-up of the title until I actually scoured social media for it, and somebody posted it on Twitter. It looks like the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, and it's got the AEW logo on the side plates. It's 4 side plates with the AEW logo, I believe, on the outer plates. And in the center of the plate, in the middle, it's got the AEW logo. It's a silver A, it's a gold E, and it's a silver W. It looks really good. I don't know if it's the best world title that I've ever seen. Nothing's really going to trump the World Wrestling Federation Winged Eagle title in my eyes, but it's a much better looking title than the fucking huge-ass logos that WWE has on their World Championships. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really, really well done. We had the AAA Tag Team Championships being defended. The Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson versus the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon and Phoenix. This one was the match that I was looking forward to most out of everything during the evening. This was tag team wrestling the way that WWE should be presenting tag team wrestling. The Young Bucks went out there and had one thing in mind: make tag team wrestling the main event. They went out there and signed all these different teams to make their division the most credible fucking division on day one in the wrestling world. And they are the flag bearers for what tag team wrestling is going to be in this company. I have no words for what they did here. The Lucha Brothers, Pentagon and Phoenix, 2 of my favorite guys in all of the wrestling business right now. They absolutely killed it. They absolutely killed it. There's so much here that happened, I can't even go over it all. I really can't even go over it all. This match was absolutely non-stop for 25 minutes. The crowd and the fans ate everything up. There was not a single fucking person in that audience that wasn't invested on what was happening in that ring. Not one. Everybody was hanging on every single motion that these guys went through, and it was fantastic. I did absolutely nothing but tweet at the end of this match. This is the way tag team wrestling should be. WWE should be ashamed of themselves. They should be truly ashamed of themselves. Phoenix ran at Pentagon, lifted him up, hit a splash to the floor to wipe out Matt and Nick. Pentagon held up Matt and Nick and drove them into the mat at the same time. Phoenix then came off the top with a dive onto Nick for a near fall. Phoenix went for a dive off the top, ate a double super kick. Matt hit a running kick on Phoenix in the corner. He then hit a super brainbuster on Phoenix. Young Bucks hit more bang for your buck on Pentagon. He kicked out. Matt and Nick hit a package pile driver on Phoenix, and Nick ran across the ring and hit a crazy dive to wipe out Phoenix. But Pentagon kicked out. Meltzer driver got broken up by Pentagon, and he snapped Matt's arm back with his signature arm breaker. Jim Ross thought he was going for a submission hold. This is why I mentioned on commentary at this point Jim Ross was completely zoned out, and I wish he would do a little bit more research on who he is calling matches for, because he would have known that that's Pentagon's signature move. He's not going for a submission hold. He's going for an arm breaker. Phoenix got the tag, nailed Matt with a pair of super kicks to the shoulder. He then twisted Matt's arm around and hit another super kick to the arm. Phoenix charged at Matt, but Matt caught Phoenix with one arm. Nick set up for the Meltzer driver, and that was it. Young Bucks win. They retain the AAA titles. Great tag team match. All-out action. 2 of the best teams in the entire fucking world. Innovation, excitement, non-stop action. What more do you want? What more do you want? Clearly, we know why this match didn't main event, but on any given night, this could be a main event for any pro wrestling show in the world. Any pro wrestling show in the world. And I just got wind that I'm actually calling LAX versus Pentagon and Phoenix at the House of Glory show on June 8th for the House of Glory Tag Team Championships. The one thing that I hope for in this match is that they didn't kill each other. So that match still goes on. I love these guys. So great. I genuinely don't understand why tag team wrestling can't be this way on Monday and Tuesday nights. I just don't get it. These guys were pulling out literally everything. There was a portion of this match where I was like, what the fuck am I watching? There was double Canadian destroyers by Pentagon and Phoenix in this match. You had Pentagon do a fucking Canadian destroyer to Matt on the ring apron, for Christ's sakes. Phoenix did one to Nick in the middle of the ring, this is the type of shit that I want to see as far as tag team wrestling goes. I don't understand why it's so difficult to present teams in this light that are legit and give legit meaning to fucking championships in tag team wrestling. This was my favorite match of the entire night. This was the best thing on the entire show for me. Young Bucks win. They retain the AAA tag team titles like I predicted they would. And they now are going to go on and have the rematch against Pentagon and Phoenix in Mexico. And I'm assuming that Pentagon and Phoenix are going to win their titles back in Mexico in just a couple of weeks. Love it. Great, simple storytelling. And I was blown away by everything that these guys did. Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho. Main event. Winner faces Hangman Page to crown the first AEW World Heavyweight Champion. There was a hilarious moment in this match. Before the entrance, I'll get to the entrance in a second. The one thing that stood out in this match was that Chris Jericho had a huge issue with the referee. Now, there was a Cracker Barrel sitting in the corner of the ring, and I'm guessing they did a cheap plug, a cheap advertisement there for Cracker Barrel, right? I'm assuming that's an inside joke for the Elite. And Chris Jericho was yelling at the referee because the referee tried to take the barrel and roll it under the ring. One of the production guys came over and tried to forcefully lift the bottom rope up, and the barrel wouldn't fit underneath the bottom rope. Jericho had to take the barrel himself and lift this fucking thing up, which looked to be incredibly heavy. He lifted it up. He shoved it in between the bottom and middle rope. He almost knocked the producer guy over, and he started yelling at the referee as if he was a fucking idiot. That was the best part of the whole match. I couldn't stop laughing. Just looking at Chris Jericho get angry at this fucking referee goon who didn't know what the fuck he was doing. The entrances for this match, man, really, really nice. Jericho went over all of his gimmicks that led him to this moment. It was not really a shot at WWE. It was more of an evolutionary stage of Jericho's career. He went through the Lionheart phase. He went through the List phase. He went through the light-up jacket phase. Out comes Chris Jericho, modern day 2019. Jericho as we see him today. I don't give a fuck, Chris Jericho. I don't know exactly what you would go by and call Chris Jericho in 2019. I don't give a fuck Jericho. Seriously. You got to respect the guy's work ethic. He looks great for his age. And he is the biggest star, legitimately, that company has right now. There's a reason why they signed him. And there's a reason why Chris Jericho is going to be AEW's first World Heavyweight Champion. No question in my mind. And it makes sense for TV. You're going to turn on TNT and you're going to see Chris Jericho, who was very well associated with another fucking wrestling program that was on TNT many, many years ago during the Attitude Era, during the Monday Night Wars. So there you go. Jericho's going to be the World Heavyweight Champion for the simple fact that his name brings recognition and value to whatever promotion he's in. So to make him the World Champion is the best business decision you could possibly make by putting on your live TV show on week 1, TNT. Jericho beat Omega here. Omega came out, new theme music. I'm not a big fan of his theme music. I much prefer his New Japan theme music. This is why I said I wish that they would get their shit together with the theme music. That's one of the most entertaining and most important aspects to me as far as a fan. Theme music makes or breaks a wrestler. In this case, it's not going to break Kenny Omega in any way. It's just I prefer his New Japan theme music much more. Jericho wins here. This match went almost 26 minutes, and Jericho wins the right to battle Hangman Page to crown the first AEW World Champion. This one got crazy towards the end. There was a portion of this match that I honestly didn't believe that both men were going through. There was a table spot on the outside. You had Kenny Omega going for his Flight of the Terminator, and he wanted to jump over the top rope. Jericho stopped that. He had that one well scouted. Pulled the table out from underneath the ring and set up the table almost as if it was a shield. So when Jericho put the table up in front of him to block Kenny Omega said, fuck this shit. I don't give a fuck if you got a table there or not. I'm going to fly over the top rope. I'm going to take you and the table out. And that's exactly what he did. He flew over the top rope, landed on the table. I actually think Kenny Omega doing that move, that tope over the top, actually took a lot more out of him than it did Jericho. But the commentary team tried to sell it as if Jericho was the one who took the most damage from that move, yet it was Omega. Now, at this point, Omega had a bloody nose. I don't recall what portion of the match where Omega, they said it could be a possible broken nose. I hope it's not. That would be terrible. But he was bleeding. He was bleeding profusely. It was the second match of the night that's seen some sort of color. And the fact that Kenny Omega took a stiff shot to the nose and continued doing the type of match that he did, that's a testament to how Kenny Omega works. And I love it. Jericho blocked a V-trigger, locked in a lion tamer. Omega, with the nose and the fact that he couldn't breathe, they really tried to sell that mixed with his cardio. They really made a really hard sell with Omega's cardio being one of his biggest aspects, his biggest strengths. Mix that with the fact that Jericho was really weakening him throughout the entire match, and the broken nose, the potential broken nose, was being a huge factor, really taking that one strong aspect away from Kenny Omega. I really like that portion of the commentary where they tried to sell you on Omega's cardio, but it's not really his strength going late into the match because of the broken nose. So Omega had the lion tamer applied to him. Omega struggled to get to the ropes. Jericho pulled him back to the center of the ring. Jericho really cranked back on the hold. He really had that lion tamer in. Omega kicked his way out of it. Omega caught Jericho with a V-trigger against the ropes. I wonder if that's going to be a statistic in AEW. How many V-triggers did Kenny Omega hit in his last match with Chris Jericho? So I could see that being an aspect of their analytics. If he's going to fight Moxley in Chicago in August, I can see that being a statistic. How many V-triggers did he land on Chris Jericho, and how many of them will he be able to land on Jon Moxley? He did land a lot of V-triggers in this match. Omega struggled to get to the ropes out of the lion tamer. He caught Jericho with a V-trigger against the ropes. They went for the he went for the one-winged angel, and it looked like it was botched, and Jericho turned it into a DDT. So he turned it into a DDT from the one-winged angel position, electric chair position. Omega then tried to make a cover, only got a 2 count. Jericho drove his knees into Omega's face. Jericho went for a springboard, but Omega blocked it. Omega got up, and he tried to go for a DDT out of the one-winged angel spot again. Chris Jericho did. Jericho hit a big code breaker. Jericho then hit the Judas Effect for the win, and he pinned Kenny Omega clean to become the #1 contender for the AEW World Championship. Hangman Page and Chris Jericho for the world title, I'm assuming, will take place in Chicago at All Out in August on Labor Day weekend. This was a good match. It was not better. If you guys are going to ask me to compare which match was better, the first one that they had or the second one, I'm going with the first one. Because I wasn't really too sold on the rematch anyway coming out of that. And I love what that match represented, and I love that it was the first time ever, and it happened in Japan, and it was something that took Kenny Omega out of that element of just delivering fucking wrestling clinics with Okada. It really showed Kenny Omega could work any style of match, and that's exactly what Chris Jericho brought to the table in that match at the Tokyo Dome. I much preferred that match than I did this one. Not by any means was this a bad match. I just honestly preferred the first match that they had in the Tokyo Dome. Now, I love the fact, and this is very important to me, I love the fact that Jericho went for the Judas Effect once, only once, and hit it. And that was it. And I love that aspect because if he's going for the world title, and he's eventually going to win the world championship, you want something in Jericho's repertoire to be pulled out, and you want that move to solidify a fucking victory. You want, as a fan, to know when Jericho pulls out that move, that it's going to be over. And I love that aspect. Now, Omega didn't hit the one-winged angel. That's going to be a huge part of his run going forward. Nobody's going to kick out of that. Nobody's ever kicked out of the one-winged angel, I'm assuming, as far as I know. And I love that aspect of Jericho not pulling out the Judas Effect and pulling it out only once, and Omega was done after that. It was over. 1, 2, 3. Now, I am kind of surprised that they actually went past the 8 o'clock hour here. I really am. It started at 8 p.m., and it went past the 11 o'clock hour on the East Coast. I'm watching the time. I'm like, wow, this is longer than your traditional 3-hour pay-per-view. All In was done at 3, and that was it. It didn't extend past 3 hours whatsoever. With this one, it extended well past 3 hours, and to be honest with you, they had a lot of time left after the bell had rung and Jericho had won. So I'm hoping that it wasn't at this point the end of the show. Jericho took the microphone and said that this company is not for the fans, but it's a company for him. There's a reason why AEW signed him. AEW has a ring, a sold-out crowd, the MGM Grand, a cool-looking logo. They got all the merchandise because of him. They signed him because this is his time. And everything that is AEW and all the accomplishments and all the praise that AEW is getting is because of Chris Jericho. Omega said this company was there to prove he's the best. Jericho said when he beat Omega, and he beat Omega by the skin of his teeth, he was going to demand one thing. Jericho only wanted respect. And he wanted a thank you. So Jon Moxley is, at this point, walking down the fucking crowd like he would in the Shield. He walked down through the audience, and he jumped the barricade, and he got into the ring, and Jericho saw him. When he turned around, Moxley planted Jericho with Dirty Deeds. I'm assuming he's going to rename it. It's not going to be Dirty Deeds, but assuming, he is still using that same finisher, I'm going to go and call it Dirty Deeds because I don't know it as anything else. So he hit his finisher, and then fans are going crazy at this point. They started going crazy because they seen Jon Moxley walk through the crowd. I'm like, I know it's something. He's there. He's in the ring, and it's fucking, the war is on. The war is on. Moxley wore a jacket that said Mox on the back of it. Jim Ross said he may be feeling a little bit more filled than he had in his entire career because this right now is an impact for Jon Moxley. Omega struggled to get to his feet. The announcers says that he couldn't defend himself because he was beaten up by Jericho, was Omega. He had a possible broken nose. Omega struggled to get to his feet. The announcer said that he couldn't defend himself. Moxley went for his finisher on Omega. Omega shoved him through the ropes, and they both landed on the outside. So Jericho's completely taken out of this equation. Fans are starting a huge AEW chant, and they landed both of them landed on a fucking broken table. Because Omega went through the table that was set up on the outside, that table that Jericho used as a shield. Apparently Jericho set it up during the match, and Omega actually was back body dropped through that table in the match. And Omega shoved Moxley through the ropes, and they landed on the debris of the table. So the fans started a huge AEW chant. Moxley and Omega brawled into the crowd. Omega slammed Moxley into the big poker chips that were sitting on the stage by the entrance. They ended up brawling on top of the poker chips. And Moxley hit Dirty Deeds on the poker chips. Fans were going crazy. Moxley lifted Omega up and hit a DVD off the poker chips through the entrance ramp or whatever the fuck was there, production table. He threw him off the fucking chips. It reminded me of what Ciampa did to Gargano, to be honest with you. It had very similar stylings to Ciampa and Gargano. He threw Omega off the poker chips. He landed down below into some production debris. And that's the way the show went off the air. Good night, goodbye. The trademark logo came up and Jon Moxley was there with his tongue hanging out, just reveling in the fucking chaos that he caused at the close of Double or Nothing. This was an unbelievable first showing for AEW. This was exactly what they needed to do. And the battle lines have been drawn. I said in the beginning, a lot of you guys aren't going to understand how significant Jon Moxley, Dean Ambrose is going over to AEW. WWE did everything in their power to maintain that Jon Moxley stays with WWE. They did not offer him anything that he wanted. They offered him everything that someone could possibly ask for, and the only thing that he wanted for him to be happy was creative freedom. That's why you seen the promo of Jon Moxley on the night of his fucking walkout of WWE, the night his contract was up, where it showed him imprisoned. That was Jon Moxley. That was Dean Ambrose. That was Jonathan Good being imprisoned because WWE did not allow him to be creative in any way. He shows up in AEW. He shows up at Double or Nothing, and here he is. He feels like the biggest deal he's ever been. He's in a fucking major program with Kenny Omega, who is quite possibly the best professional wrestler in the entire world. You're going to join AEW, and the first fucking program you got is Kenny Omega. Looking back on what the guy has done through the entirety of 2019, teasing a match with Nia Jax, losing to EC3, being buried by Drew McIntyre, being Roman Reigns' meat shield, literally Send-off after send-off after send-off. Yeah, you're there with your best friends, but WWE showed you that they had nothing to offer you but being a fucking third fiddle to Rollins and Reigns. And here he is, night one. And he's the biggest fucking deal in all of pro wrestling. He's the most talked about thing right now in the entire sport. I don't know what you guys are thinking about AEW, but I know for a simple fucking fact that when you guys turn on TNT in October, everybody that watched this show, everybody that didn't watch the show, you're going to be watching again in October. WWE, I said in the beginning, is in some deep fucking shit. They are in trouble. This was the exclamation point on that statement. If you guys don't believe me, listen and read all the reactions regarding this show tonight. They're all going to tell you the same fucking thing. And this should be a fucking signal to WWE that we need to change. Are they going to change? Are they going to change for the better? Are they finally going to get their head out of their ass and start giving us the quality of wrestling that AEW is certainly here to deliver? Are they going to make WWE great again? Are they going to start listening to the fucking fans? Are they going to be a little bit more grown up and a little bit more serious and take things in a more serious manner as far as storytelling and character development? Even on commentary. The way you deliver storylines, the way you treat your fucking talent. Are these things going to change? Because if they don't, AEW sent up a huge fucking signal tonight. We are welcoming you with open arms. You are creatively frustrated? Come on in. This is how we're doing things. This is our first show. We're here to show you how things are done. This show was fantastic tonight. This was probably, I'm not going to say it was better than any NXT TakeOver show this year, because the TakeOver shows that we had with New York and Phoenix, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they were better than those. But as far as WWE, strictly comparing AEW to WWE, outside of all the hiccups, this was the best professional wrestling show, and that's comparing Raw and SmackDown. This was the best professional wrestling show outside of NXT all year. And I'm fucking proud to be a part of All Elite Wrestling. I'm getting out of here, guys. Thank you so very much. This was a long fucking review, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I got no fucking voice. The weekend killed me. I'm glad I could deliver it to you guys tonight, and I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think of everything down below. I will see you guys back in New York on Monday, and we will attack a new week of pro wrestling. I'm very interested to see what WWE does for Monday Night Raw. If there is any retaliation, if there is any just motivation as far as WWE goes to make Monday Night Raw better again after this show tonight, I hope so. Because if they don't, things are only going to get worse from here on out. Follow me on social media, JD from NY206. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. And follow me on Patreon, man. Support via the Patreon page, patreon.com/JD from NY206. Shout out to Sal Rex for the beautiful layout and the thumbnail for tonight's Double or Nothing review. I will see you guys back here on Monday for Monday Night Raw. Until then, enjoy the rest of the weekend, guys. Happy Memorial Day, and I'll see you right back here for a brand new week of content on the channel. I'll see you guys later.